Good afternoon, everybody, and happy hockey. This is your host, of course, Peter Fifoot. Puck Drops here. Welcome, everybody. Haven't been here for months and months. I'm sorry. I was accepted into Montclair State University. I've been having 2 great semesters, and I've been doing well and still the great love of my life, which is National Hockey League. And I want to present my co-host over here, longtime Ranger fan. We're okay with that here at Puck Drops here, and Thomas Bavaro.
Yep, that's right.
And
Tommy, whatever.
Yes, he is a Ranger fan. We know that both of our teams are at the bottom of their respective division, the Metropolitan Division.
Also a future Seattle NHL team fan.
Yes,
that's the second.
That's the second team is that. My second team, as you may remember from previous video, still stands as Calgary. They are having a great run this year in the Pacific Division. Best record in the Western Conference. We are now here to talk about all things hockey, all things all over the National Hockey League and all the sport, all across the world, major continents. First, we'll talk about 2 teams, only 2 teams in the National Hockey League, still vying for a playoff spot. That is the Columbus Blue Jackets from the Metropolitan Division, and of course, Le Canadien de Montreal, the Montreal Canadiens, also in the Atlantic Division. We're vying for the 8th and final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference and 16th and final playoff spot in the National Hockey League. When we look at the Montreal Canadiens, in the Eastern Conference, listed at 9th in the Eastern Conference.
9th in the Eastern Conference.
94 points listed. It is the same amount as Columbus. Now, playoff status is linked as wins and not tiebreakers. Columbus needs to win tonight. They play the New York Rangers, and Tom's New York Rangers, in Madison Square Garden at 7 p.m. tonight. Puck drop.
It's in Columbus. No, you're right. It's in Madison Square Garden.
It is in Madison Square Garden, and it is going to be a great game. If Columbus wins, not just a point, but those 2 points, the Blue Jackets win, yes. It's an automatic playoff spot for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and it would knock the Canadiens out of the playoffs, which would be an unforeseen 2 straight years out of the postseason for the hockey club. If the Columbus Blue Jackets get a point, Montreal Canadiens are stuck on the skin of their teeth. They are still in the postseason. So we are now going to offer our opinions, and obviously anyone who wants to can offer their opinions on the Montreal Canadiens and the Columbus Blue Jackets. What do you think is going to happen tonight? So first, I'm going to go off the floor to you, Tom. Columbus or Montreal, who gets into the postseason, and who do they play in the first round?
Well, that's going to be a tough one. But whoever goes to this one will likely play Tampa for sure. That I know.
Likely, yes.
Well, you got to look at the Blue Jackets. They have what's his name? And excuse me, I'm in the. Well, they have great offense over the years. They have Bobrovsky. He's been unbelievable throughout the year. You know, Cam Atkinson, right. Dubinsky. You got even Matt Duchene, who's having a good start after being traded from Ottawa.
Right. Look at Bobrovsky behind him. Jonas Carpastalo, the backup. They also have the former Devil Keith Kincaid. He's 6'6" in there, right, as you said. You said you have Josh Anderson, who's played in the playoffs before. Artemi Panarin, he's played in the playoffs before. Cam Atkinson, the young kid Pierre-Luc Dubois, who they drafted 3rd overall in the 2017 National Hockey League draft. 2016 National Hockey League draft, excuse me. A lot of great players. They've got great defense. Look at Seth Jones. Look at Zach Werenski. Very good D-men. But they've been streaky, and they're 2 young. They're 2 stars that they got in the trade deadline.
And as I was saying, they have a lot of young players.
Right, but the 2 guys they got in the trade deadline, the former Av and the former Ottawa Senator Matt Duchene and Ryan Zingle, were dealt from that team, and they have not been proficient in goal scoring. They're going to have to, and I agree with you. I think Carolina either gets to the 3rd spot or they get to that wild card spot, and the winner is probably, in all of the probability as we can see, going to probably play Tampa Bay.
But who do I see getting in? This is going to be a tough one. For right now, I'm going to go with the Blue Jackets.
I'm going to stay with you. I'm picking Columbus. I think they're going to get the points. Montreal's played an excellent season.
They started a little rough in the
They did start a little rough, and that did become an impact factor. But if you look at them, they've got a lot of great work. They've got a young team. They got a young team, and not high on the cap. Paul Byron, great player. Look at Max Domi. Look at the goals he's scored. He's surpassed his father, Ty Domi, in almost every category. The goals and the assists Ty Domi, who's listed at Max Domi, pardon me, who's listed at 28 goals and 43 assists, 71 points coming from the Arizona Coyotes, dealt immediately, and he has risen in substantial amounts. Philip Deneau, Thomas Tatar, a lot of players. We've seen great things by Jesper Kakiniemi, the third overall pick from this last year's draft. A lot of great things for the Canadians. Nothing to hang your hat on.
Nothing to be disappointed on.
Nothing. 2 straight years probably losing, not going to the postseason, but it's a building team. They're going under Claude Julien's philosophies. They're going under his coaching. It's really something that you're going to look at. It's really something you can learn about. It's going to be interesting for them going further, what they do in the draft process, what they do in free agency. They're in upcoming free agents. I think Paul Byron is a big player that they got to re-sign. They got to look at him. Paul Byron, great player, great hardworking player, has got great skills for him. I really think so for him. The Blue Jackets, though, will probably move into the postseason, as we said. So we will now make, for tonight, our picks for Friday's game, and we'll probably be here for after the regular season ends for our next video next week. We will probably miss Saturday, so we'll make our picks on Saturday as well. And Sunday we will probably cap off the playoffs and look at the playoffs coming up, which is a great postseason. Really exciting. Greatest time in sports, obviously.
And I was going to say, like on Sunday, if all goes well, we're going to do our playoff predictions because so far the only two matchups that are confirmed for the West is the Sharks and the Golden Knights, and on the East it's only the Leafs and the Bruins. No other matchups confirmed yet.
Both matchups which were dealt last year. We saw the Boston Bruins and the Vegas Golden Knights move on in their playoff rounds.
That's right.
And eliminate those respective teams.
Yeah, both teams, or actually all 4 teams throughout the past 2 years have been unbelievable. So let's see how they do.
What about Vegas? Expansion team.
Well, yeah, including expansion team. You know, you still want to give them credit.
We give them credit where credit is due. So
expansion or 100
years old, give credit to everybody. Right. We look at the first team game going on tonight, as we had already prefaced.
Of course.
That game is in the battles of Madison Square Garden. Columbus and the Rangers. This game is playoff indication. The Rangers are looking to try to gain momentum and fight for the draft for next season. In their first year under David Quinn, they had a great year.
Yeah, David Quinn, he had a great start, and also confirmed George Ejab will be back in goaltending today as well.
Yergiev will start.
Yeah, Bobrovsky is startable for Blue Jackets expected.
Bobrovsky will start, and the Columbus, though, is looking for that playoff spot. They're looking to be directly in to where they want to be, and Sergei Bobrovsky will start because they know that they have this game. On Saturday, they will have a game against the Ottawa Senators, but it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, and I want to go to the Rangers for 1 second. Earlier this past week, Rangers president Glenn Sather announced he will be stepping down as Ranger president.
Right.
He did, and all he wants to say, I would certainly been happier about if we won the Stanley Cup. The longtime executive told Larry Brooks. We had the opportunity to do it, but those 3 overtime losses in LA, that was the biggest regret. But then also the reality that we were starting to get older, not me personally, but the team, we would see that we would need to make things to get better. That's always painful. And he informed this team on Thursday they'll be stepping down, and he will now work with Rangers head owner James Dolan on the search for replacement that will begin immediately.
So that will be very interesting, of course, for the Rangers in the offseason. You look at Columbus. Columbus has everything to play for, everything to lose. The Rangers have nothing to lose. I think the Rangers are going to come back. They're going to come up. They're going to come out hitting. They're going to come out playing. Look at the guys they got. They got a guy like Neil Pionk. They have Zibanejad. They have a good roster right now. Good roster. But here's the issue. I think Columbus will eventually find their legs. They may be down 1, possibly 2, but they'll find their legs. They will come back, and you get to a point where both teams are battling hard. They're going down. They're doing their forecheck. They're poking pucks away. They're really playing hard, and they're playing to the ability that they know they can play. Both teams, then you buy talent, and I hate to say it, Ranger fans, but Columbus has more talent than the New York Rangers do.
As of right now.
And as of now, the Columbus Blue Jackets this year, maybe not next year, but this year, the Columbus Blue Jackets have more talent than the New York Rangers do. And if it gets to that point, if you have a thrown puck across the boards and you have a puck drawn to the middle of the side in center ice, and Panarin or Duchesne gets it, that might be night-night time for Yergiev because of how good these Columbus wingers are. So I think Columbus is going to win. I think it's going to be 4-3. I think it will be in regulation. For my Blue Jackets goals, I'm going to have Ryan Zingle will score, Seth Jones will score, Dubois will score, and Panarin the game winner. For the Rangers, I'm going to have Brendan Smith,
Mika Zibanejad,
Neil Pionk, and Mika Zibanejad.
Georgiev, yeah.
Georgiev will start. Georgiev will play well, but it's just a game.
Alexander Georgiev.
It's just a game that, yes, will be hard, tough for them. And who you have winning that game?
I'm going to go with the Columbus Blue Jackets, actually.
Okay. Final score?
Final score, I'm going to go with 3-1 Blue Jackets.
3-1? Okay. We have the second game. The second game belongs to the Chicago Blackhawks back on Madison Avenue. They are playing their last home game of the season, and it is against a team that is in the playoff picture,
and also
the Dallas Stars.
And also, this is the Rangers' final home game for this year.
This is the Rangers' final home game. Yes, they will be heading to Pittsburgh
for their last game of the year tomorrow.
PPG Paints, which will be a very important game for the Penguins as well, looking to jockey their playoff status much to see if they will be going against the Caps in the first round or the Islanders. But back to Dallas and Chicago. So Chicago is a team that is right now, they're just trying to go get that pick.
Yeah,
they went hard for the playoffs, but
yeah, after losing longtime head coach Joe Quenneville, the Blackhawks saw going into a complete different direction.
Right.
Like that was, in my opinion, the saddest move they did. Like firing a head coach after. I mean, to be honest, Joe Quenneville, he still won.
He did still win. 3 Stanley Cups. But you're at a point where you're going to rebuild. You're trying to change the culture. You're trying to change the play, trying to change the players. So you bring in a young kid. You bring in a young coach in Jeremy Colleton. So what do you get? You're getting a young team that's rebuilding. You're getting some more players that are just they're finding their way through how they're going to do what they want to do as players. And now a building team from a rebuilding team eventually with Patrick Kane, the Hart Trophy season. He's not going to win. It's going to be Kucherov's. It's Kucherov's to lose.
Definitely.
But the Hart Trophy season that Patrick Kane had was incredible. Yeah. And I think you got to look at that. The poll writers will. It's been a nice season for Chicago, but it's over. But who does have a great season coming up? And the second season, the Dallas Stars. They are in the postseason for the first time since 2016 when they were the West's best team. They had the West's best record. They had a tough 6-game series in the first round of the Minnesota Wild. And, yes, they lost to 7 games to the St. Louis Blues in the second round. Just very tough series for them, difficult, really are just. But the Dallas Stars have a new team. They have Matt Zuccarello, trade deadline. They have Miro Heiskanen, who they were able to get 2 off seasons later in the draft. John Klingberg, the defense, the offense, Tyler Seguin, of course, Jamie Benn. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with them. After this offseason.
Bishop, who's injured right now.
Ben Bishop is injured. Anton Khudobin will be starting the game tonight. I believe Corey Crawford is going to be starting for the Chicago Blackhawks in their final home game of the season. Landon Bow, who just came from Texas this year, is going from the American Hockey League. Will be on the roster, but if Texas makes a run in the American Hockey League playoffs, I don't put it past him to come all the way back.
Of course.
Now, Dallas, Chicago, here's my prediction.
Stars.
3-2 Blackhawks.
Oh, okay. My score 4-1 Stars.
I have the Blackhawks winning in Madison. This is going to be an overtime game. Okay. Dallas will clinch the first wild card spot. All right. It's going to be Brandon Saad's going to have the first tally for Chicago. For the second goal is going to be had by the young kid who's turning into a star, and Alex DeBrincat. And Patrick Kane gets the overtime winner. The Dallas Stars, John Klingberg and Tyler Seguin. And 3-2 overtime winner for the Chicago Blackhawks, but Dallas gets the point that they need over the Colorado Avalanche, and they elevate to that first wildcard spot where they will play the Central Division champion, whoever that is, and we will go over that later in the stream. We will definitely check out what's going on in this crazy Central Division between the St. Louis Blues, the Winnipeg Jets, and the Nashville Predators.
Yes,
the Nashville Predators.
Yeah, and also before we go to the next game, I just want to say something for Blackhawks. Like, despite losing Joe Quenneville, he still won, you know,
Did
3
still win.
cups in like almost 6 years.
3
Like,
cups, 6 years.
yeah, ending that
Didn't
drought
do
from
anything with the St.
61,
Louis
you know?
Blues. Was a great player in the 1980s for the Hartford Whalers. But yes.
Yeah, Blackhawks fans, even though they lost Quenneville, you still have something to be
proud about, and you have an organization.
You ended 1961.
Yes.
You got 3 cups.
Patrick Kane, the goal that no one saw. You have a franchise and you have an organization you need to still be proud of. Blackhawks won't be very good for a few years, but they're getting players. DeBrincat is a star. He is a definitive star, but I think what you got to do now, I like Colin Delia. I do. But you got to go after another young goaltender. You need a future in the pipes. They did that with Corey Crawford when they had Huey and Ante Niemi in net. But got to look at that from that perspective. Got to look at the players you have. Got to build up, get some really great players. Our nightcap for tonight. We continue into
a worthless game, we'll say.
And nightcap,
we apologize for that.
We apologize to all hockey fans across California.
Except
we really do. Well, your San Jose team, you have your last game. We know the Sharks have their last game at home against the Colorado Avalanche tomorrow night. But we feel bad for you Californian hockey fans, and we support you. We know this is all as channels for hockey. We're not going to roast you or anything about that. We're just saying that this game is not a game that means too much. It is basically it's a tank cup, if you want to look at that.
Yeah.
It's a tank cup because we got 2 teams that are tanking for it all. And those 2 teams being the Anaheim Ducks and the Los Angeles Kings. That game is in Disneyland. The Anaheim Ducks, of course, playing the LA Kings.
Well, in Anaheim for sure.
Right, of course.
Yeah, well, my sister, we're all into Disneyland or Disney, of course. Like, I went to Anaheim once, and at the Disneyland, I actually got a good view of the Ducks and Angels.
The Honda Center, which is a beautiful, beautiful stadium, and they will be doing battle there. The LA Kings and the Anaheim Ducks. And I think this is going to be the first shutout of the game of the year. The day, excuse me. Mouth doesn't work today. The first shutout of the day, and I think it's going to be 4-0 the locals. No goals for LA. I have the goals for the Ducks. It's going to be the 2 veterans who have not had a great year. 2 goals for Corey Perry, 2 goals for Ryan Getzlaf. And that will be the end of Friday.
Yeah, I got the Ducks winning that 5-0.
5-0.
Or actually maybe 5-1.
We're going to go, and now we're going to go into the large amount of games tomorrow. And tomorrow is the last day of the regular season. Wow. Very exciting.
Alrighty.
The first game we have means it's 2 of the best teams in the regular season. 2 teams that could definitely win the Stanley Cup, but none of them are going to. It's not going to mess up the seeding. The Tampa Bay Lightning and the Boston Bruins. Tampa Bay Lightning can go after history. They can become the 3rd best team regular season with 128. Yes, 128 points. Yes, 128 points, and also the 2nd team ever to 62 wins. But their game is in the last regular season game in TD Garden. And yes, in Titletown. And the Boston Bruins, they will have another home game, but that will be against the Toronto Maple Leafs on, I believe, Thursday.
The Lightning, a little bit of a historic moment. They're looking to seek 62 wins in the finale.
No other team has done that except for the Montreal Canadiens in the 1967 season, I believe. The Montreal Canadiens, Guy Lafleur, Jean Lavoie, and the great players that they had.
I like how you're using that French.
And you look at Tampa, let's see who they have. You have Steven Stamkos, Andre Palat, Nikita Kucherov. Nikita Kucherov, 131 points, I believe.
Andre
Vasilevsky. And Domingue as the backup. It's an insanely loaded team, but what do? Do you rest them? Do you go for this 62 wins? I don't think John Cooper is very excited to that. I think John Cooper actually will be paying less attention to that game, but he'll be paying more attention to the Blue Jacket Ranger game because it'll probably be the team he will end up playing in the postseason. The Lightning and the Bruins will be an interesting game. I think we're going to have 3-1 Boston. Boston's going to get ready for their game.
I think for the Lightning, they should take a moment to get all the rest and everything.
Get the rest. Rest your players.
You don't want to overconfident.
Rest your players. Your really young players, not your AHL, not your Syracuse Crunch players, but your young Tampa Bay Lightning like Casey Domingue, Antti Cirelli. I would start them. I would let them learn late postseason, and they'll be playing in the playoffs. And a guy I would rest a Braden Point. I would rest a Steven Stamkos. I would rest a Victor Hedman. I would definitely rest Victor Hedman.
Oh, yeah, Victor Hedman.
His legs are low.
You know what? I should say rest Steven Stamkos because he's always getting injured at the worst point.
I would rest Steven Stamkos. Get ready for Columbus or Montreal, whoever you play.
Yeah, it's a wild card. So the Lightning, this is going to be a tough one for the Lightning.
It's going to be a good one.
If they want to win the cup, they've got to make no mistakes, because we've seen some teams in the past with President's Trophy who don't come all the way. Well,
yes, we've seen in the last few years. In 2009, we saw the San Jose Sharks. What an incredible team they had. Setaguchi and Heatley, just an insane team. They were pummeled by the Ducks in the first round.
The Rangers in 15, wow, they had an incredible
team, and they lost to the Lightning in
7 games. Yeah, that's right, 7 games. Yeah.
Lightning in 7 games.
I mean,
now you look at a team. Now look at a team like the Washington Capitals 2010. They lost to the Montreal Canadiens in 7 games. So we'll look at the Bruins again and a prediction.
Before we go on,
yeah, sure.
Do you think the President's Trophy should be retired for good?
No, I think it's a great award, and the best team wins it. But the best team needs to succeed in the playoffs, and that's what has to be done. And it just hasn't been done. And if anyone watching this wants to know, the last time it has happened, the President's Trophy team has won, was 2013 with the Blackhawks. The last time it has happened with a full 82-game regular season was 2008 when the Detroit Red Wings beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in 6 games. 2008. It has been 11 seasons. 11 seasons since a full 82-game season that team won the President's Trophy and also won Lord Stanley's Cup. Okay. Now back to the Bruins and Lightning game.
I hope you guys probably
right. It means nothing. But back to hockey, we have the Bruins and the Lightning. And the Boston Bruins, I said we win 3-1. I think Bergeron will score 1. I think DeBrusk will score 2. And that is my score for that. We go to the Canucks Blues game. I'm sure we'll be talking a little later about that. That game is important, not for the Canucks.
Well, for the Blues.
It is very important for the Blues. The Blues need I wouldn't say a miracle, but a mini miracle to go ahead and win that division.
Hope,
Yes, there is hope. There is hope in St. Louis land. You look around the arc and you look around this area and learn that this was a team that was looking at the free agency was not enough. It was tanking. It was at a point where they were getting ready to dive bomb into the draft. Kaapo Kakko, that was the whole thing, to go get Kaapo Kakko, the great Finnish winger. But now they are going straight for that cup. They're going straight for that division win, straight for that division title. And St. Louis, with 44-29, is at a point where they can do well in the playoffs.
They should be able to.
I think they will win. I think it will be 4-1 in favor of the Blues. I think the only Canucks goal is taken by Drew Pearson, the former King and Penguin. And for the Blues, you're getting goals by Vladimir Tarasenko, Ryan O'Reilly. Just hold on as I pull this up.
Hold on, guys. We're having a little delay.
Yeah, just having a delay with the computer.
I can pull it up on my phone. Want me to? I can pull it up on my phone. Want me to? Do you want to look for my phone? Okay. Yeah, just hang tight, guys.
Yeah.
Just sit down.
And we have the St. Louis Blues. Yes. Okay. So here's the full roster: Ryan O'Reilly. I would have Tarasenko scoring. I would also have Jaden Schwartz and Robert Thomas. The young Robert Thomas, so much potential by him. Great face-off man, something that the Blues need, especially in the playoffs, whether they play a Dallas or a Colorado or a Nashville or a Winnipeg in the first round. But I have them 4-1, getting their points. Then we look at the Maple Leafs and the Canadiens. The Maple Leafs, this means nothing too, because the Bruins, I believe the Bruins have.
But however,
forced very much
the
Canadiens.
That's a must-win for them.
Very much. Oh, no doubt it's a must-win. It may not mean anything after today, but we look at the game and we shall see.
We will find out. Tomorrow, at this point, the only teams we're more focused on are the Canadiens and
the Bruins have already clinched home ice against Toronto Maple Leafs. We know that. The Maple Leafs, I think, are going to get the Canadiens. Will get the win against the Maple Leafs. I think it's going to be 2-1 in regulation.
This is going to be
favor of the Canadiens. Hockey night in Canada, of course, be a great game. I personally wonder if Jim Hugson will do the call, or if Bob Cole will do the call, not of any notion, but you have that type of game. And for the Leafs, I think Tavares will score 1, which will be good for his goal total. And for the Canadians, I think you're going to get Shaw and you're going to get Max Domi. For the Canadians, that they get those 2 points, but it's just not going to be enough. Columbus and
Senators, that's a must win for
Ottawa.
the Blue Jackets.
Well, it of course depends on
For
what
both
happens.
wins today, if they want to go in the playoffs, they should most likely focus on both games today and
Right.
tomorrow.
If they get the points, there's a possibility they could jump the Hurricanes, but it isn't likely. I say it's going to be 5-3 in favor of Columbus. Columbus, the scorers are going to be Matt Duchene, Ryan Zingle, Cam Atkinson, Pierre-Luc Dubois, and Seth Jones. And for the Senators, you're going to get goals by Tkachuk, PRV, and Dylan DeMello. Dylan DeMello, you may remember the former Barracuda and Shark who was traded to the Ottawa Senators in the Erik Karlsson deal. And there is another story, another case, which we shall look at. In Buffalo and Detroit, this is a game that means nothing to both teams. A tank war.
So
Detroit's going to win. Detroit's going to win 3-2, an overtime winner.
But I want to say something for the Sabres. Like, they started unbelievable.
Yes,
but as we were talking yesterday going to dinner, they collapsed. Like, what do you have to say on that one? Like,
organization. They're a rebuilding team. They're working in an organization. Their general manager is good, but they don't know exactly what players will fit. Will a guy like Jack Eichel fit? Will he want to leave? The team, look at the success that he has not had. Connor McDavid, everyone likes to gripe about the Edmonton organization, has not been the best, but he's been to the postseason.
Once.
Jack Eichel has never been to the postseason. We look at Phil Housley, the Buffalo Sabre great. What does he want to do as head coach? But in the game tonight, and tomorrow night, I believe it's going to be 3-2. Dylan Larkin's going to get 2 for the Red Wings. Nicholas Kronwall, the overtime winner. For the Buffalo Sabres, it'll be Ristolainen, and it's going to be Evan Rodriguez, also for the Sabres. 7 p.m., my team is in Sunrise for the last game of the regular season. As you may have known, I did pick the Devils to make the postseason, third in the division. That did not pan out. They're in Sunrise to play the Panthers, another team that once again started out not well, but had a good surge, but just wasn't able to finish it off. And I think the Panthers are going to win this one 3-1. Barkov, Ekblad, and Trocheck, all goals for Florida. And the 1 goal by Blake Coleman for New Jersey.
I want to say for the second straight year for the Panthers, they fell short. Like, they started off.
Fall short. I do feel bad.
I want to say something, like, especially from last year, starting off from, like, I think I don't recall when they started, like, from bottom and all the way since the Parkland shooting last year. They did a healing.
Rest in peace, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
1 year since that prayer. Like, so, like, for the Panthers, do you think it's a great healing, like, after what they've gone through with Parkland, especially for Roberto Luongo?
Well, Roberto Luongo's a great man and a great guy, and I just feel for all that entire community. But I think this, in favor of the Florida Panthers, this is all a hockey decision. This has to do with their hockey club, and they've got to get something fixed because something's not going right. Roberto Luongo, and your backup is James Reimer. He's only getting older.
James Reimer. I mean, he did go to the Cup final back in 2016, which they lost. So that's the only. He was a backup for
Mark Jones.
He was.
Yeah, but you may remember. And the sad thing about James Reimer, I hate to say this, is the only thing you'll think about with him is 4-1 or Patrice Bergeron. Of course, the great game in 2013, where they were up 4-1.
That was my first.
And it was a great, but we will not, of course, dwell on that. We think of the Leafs highly, and we also think of the Florida Panthers highly. All 31 teams plus the 32nd.
Seattle,
we think very highly of those teams. But again, this is a hockey decision. The Florida Panthers are a good team. They just have to figure out what they want to do. Will they want to go through free agency? I think you get a boost if you get a guy like Artemi Panarin. You're looking at a team that just didn't get the scoring early on and late in the year. Artemi Panarin has the scoring touch. He's been a great player. So if you get a few players in the draft free agency, you may mold yourself this team. Remember, it's very similar. Now they had some players that left, but it's very similar to that 2015-16 team that went to the postseason against the New York Islanders.
Of course. And more games, like we're going to After the Panthers, we got
look at the Carolina Hurricanes and the Philadelphia Flyers. This means nothing for Philadelphia. They're out of the playoffs.
For the Hurricanes, this is their first time going to the playoffs in 10 years. Last time they made it was 2009 when they went all the way to the conference final.
Yes, they did.
Lost to Pittsburgh.
Great runs against the New Jersey Devils and the Boston Bruins.
But then they fell to the Penguins, which they won their first cup with Sidney Crosby.
Yes,
and
they did.
Third in history.
They got swept by Pittsburgh that year, and I'm going to tell you something. That series was Evgeny Malkin's best series to that career.
And that's why he won the MVP.
Gino had an insane career, insane series against the Carolina Hurricanes. But yes, their first in 10 seasons, Carolina Hurricanes are back in the playoffs. They're probably going to play against their big brother up north against the Washington Capitals.
Either Washington
or possibly Tampa. I think they have a chance against Washington, but I don't think so.
Whether they make it, whether they win or not, the good thing is
we've seen the Hurricanes last time as underdogs. We've seen them as teams that nobody thought were going to make it. We saw them first in 2002 as a team that nobody thought were going to do anything. And they went through New Jersey and they went through Toronto, and they had a great series against the Detroit Red Wings, the loaded Detroit Red Wings that had Dominik Hasek and Luc Robitaille and Brett Hull on the same team. And they made a series out of it with Justin Irving. We saw in 2006 an incredible Hurricanes team, but that was inexperienced in the playoffs, find a way against the Canadiens, find a way against the Devils, find a way against the Sabres, and find a way against the plucky Oilers to win the Stanley Cup. And in 2009, the last time they made it, we saw them do it against New Jersey again. Yes, Carolina spoils my team. Always, they find a way. And we saw them do it against the Boston Bruins, and they had a tough series that they played well in against the Pittsburgh Penguins. They just weren't able to salvage a win. And it's a whole new year, whole new different type of game, whole new different type of playoff. And the Hurricanes are back. They're back. They're going to play against Philadelphia, look to try to stay on that one seed as a possibility with the game we'll talk about next. If they could jump to 3 and be playing in Uniondale, but that is probably not going to happen.
For the Islanders, the Islanders are getting a new home within about 2 years, I think, somewhere in
Belmont. So the Hurricanes, I say that is going to be 5-4 Hurricanes.
5-4.
Yes, I'm getting Aho's going to have a hat trick. Teravainen is going to have a goal. Nino Niederreiter is going to have a goal. 4 for the Flyers: Giroux, Konechny, Sanheim, Voracek. Now we look at the other game that could spoil the Hurricanes in getting a 3rd spot in the division. New York Rangers are in PP&G paints to play once again the team that has the longest postseason streak in the National Hockey League.
13 years.
The Pittsburgh Penguins.
After the
13 years, 14 seasons for Sidney Crosby. He's only missed the playoffs once. His rookie season, only once. His rookie season, ever since then, he's made the postseason, and they're back in the playoffs. And with a point against the Rangers, they're going to seal up that 3rd spot, and that would mean that this coming week we will have Penguins and we will have Islanders. And that would be an interesting matchup. Penguins and Rangers. I think the Penguins get it. I think it's going to be 3-2 Pens. Dumoulin, Crosby, Gensel. For the Rangers, Zibanejad, Kreider. Then we look at the other game. This, with a possibility that this was going to be for the Metropolitan Division, but because of the game against Montreal last night, it is not. It is the last home regular season game for the defending champs. The New York Islanders are in Capital One Center to battle the world champion Caps.
Same 2 straight. Yep, the Capitals are back in the playoffs. And the Islanders, when was the last time they made the playoffs? Was it
2015-16?
Yeah, 16.
When they upset the Florida Panthers in 6 games. Tavares' great goal.
Their first playoff win since 93.
1993, when they upset the Penguins in the 2nd round. And then they lost in 6
to the Canadiens.
No, I'm talking about 2015-16.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Lost to 6 to the Bulls. No. And I have Isles 3-1 over the Caps.
Okay.
Islanders are going to get goals from Beauvillier. They're going to get goals from Barzal and Anders Lee. The Caps are going to get a goal from the Great 8.
Okay.
Yes.
We got more. Wow.
We have more. We have the last home regular season game in a wonderful arena I have not been to, but my friend has.
I have.
Bridgestone Arena, Nashville, Tennessee. Blackhawks and Predators. Great. What a great game that'll be.
But I got the Predators winning.
I have the Predators winning as well. 4-1 victors.
6-1.
4-1 victors. I have Ekholm. Roman Josi, Philip Forsberg, and the former Minnesota Wild member Mikhail Granlund scoring for the Predators, and for the Blackhawks, Jonathan Toews. It'll be a good game, but that'll end the Blackhawks season and get the Predators ready for the postseason.
Next game, Wild.
If that happens, they would win the division.
Oh, right.
The Nashville Predators would win the division for the second straight season.
And I think they will. Last year, they won the President's Trophy.
The two teams in the National Hockey League that played or play in Minnesota are in the Lone Star State. They got Minnesota Wild and Dallas Stars. That's going to be Dallas. Dallas is going to win that game. It's going to be 2-1 Stars in regulation. Jamie Benn, both goals for Dallas. And for Minnesota, Eric Stahl, the native of Minnesota Wild. And he will be there. He'll have a great game, I think. But Dallas Stars are going to get the victory. They're going to get all the momentum heading into the postseason. And now we have another former from one place, and that's the two teams that played or play in Winnipeg, the Jets against the Coyotes. This was in Phoenix. This is going to be 5-1 Arizona.
Because unfortunately, the Coyotes, although they started slow, but
they started very slow, but they played really amazing hockey. But because of the game, the Avalanche tie with the Winnipeg Jets, the Arizona Coyotes will not be in the postseason.
You know, I was going to say, I really wanted them to see a potential desert matchup in the playoffs between them and the Golden Knights, because I'm saying this probably won't happen, because in a few years, the Coyotes, they may be on talk to relocation, like probably they might be relocated to Houston. Like, do you have anything to say to the Coyote fans this fight? Like, do you have fear for the Coyotes of relocating? Or?
I do. I do have fear, and I believe that they should stay. I think they're only going to get better, and I think this is at a point where they will get better. Just so you guys know, we are finishing up the games today, and then we are going to be talking about two things afterwards. We are going to be two discussions, and then this video will be over, and we will be gearing up for the postseason. If you guys enjoy the rest of the regular season, we will be talking about the wonderful Central Division race. And we will also be discussing the lottery odds when we come back. We will also be talking about the lottery odds today and which teams we think will get the lottery. And maybe we will discuss a player. We'll probably wait until the lottery is final, and then we'll make our draft predictions.
Yes, and I think I want to say before we end, I want to say our predictions for the upcoming Seattle team if there's time, because I know you haven't been on in a while, so I wanted to have everyone.
Yes, we will also talk about Seattle. We will talk about Seattle. We will talk about the Central Division as well, and we will also discuss all of the ongoing opportunities and everything that is going to be happening with the lottery and draft. Two young players, especially out of all the great players that are coming up, but Kaapo Kakko for Finland, he won gold in the World Juniors. And of course, you want to look at a guy like Jack Hughes, brother of Quint Hughes, who has played for the Vancouver Canucks, played very well.
All right, let's finish.
Now we finish off here with the Arizona Coyotes at 5-1. I think Scheifele gets the goal for the Winnipeg Jets. For the Coyotes, I think you're going to get goals from Christian Fischer, Christian Dvorak, Derek Stepan, Clayton Keller has 2. The Battle of Alberta, the final Battle of Alberta, and what a great game it'll be. Oilers and Flames.
The Flames had an unbelievable season.
The Flames have been the greatest surprise to me.
One of the greatest in the Western this year. And they retired Jerome McGinley's number.
Yes, they did. And I believe that the Flames were not going to make the postseason, and they were going to continue to regress. They did not regress. They made the playoffs. But they made the playoffs at a point where they were not the little brother, the dog following behind Anaheim. Anaheim crashed and burned, and the Calgary Flames are the hottest. Look at them on top of the NHL leaderboard, on top of the Western Conference, and the Calgary Flames with 107 points.
That's incredible.
Although I do not think highly of them in the postseason. I'm sorry, Calgary fans.
And they are first place in the Western Conference.
Because their offense is a great offense, but they're going to live and die by the sword. And the sword's name is Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah, but the good thing for Calgary is they're first in the Western Conference. 50 win and 100.
They will have whole ice against whatever team they'll play unless they go to the Cup final and do battle against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I believe they also have a better record. They actually have the same record as Boston. So it'll be interesting to look at Boston's games.
It would be a good rematch if they did Flames and Lightning again.
It would be a good rematch. Lightning, of course, won that game 7 games. 2004, controversial fashion.
Which we all know. That goal. What's his name?
The St. Louis goal.
Yeah, not St. Louis. I was referring to the goal. Did it go in or not?
The one, yes.
Yeah.
Marty Jelena under the skate of
yeah. Well, who knows? It's whatever at this point. If you're a Flames fan,
you know what we're talking about. Yeah. Marty Jelena under the skate of the Lightning goaltender that is currently evading my mind right now.
Sorry, Calgary. We don't mean to trigger you, but we still love you.
Tampa, yes, and we appreciate you. I believe Calgary will win, and Calgary is going to win. I'm going to say 3-2 regulation. Monahan, Goudreau, 2 goals. For Edmonton, McDavid, and Clefbaum.
All right, next game.
Next game, we have the Vegas and the Kings. This game means nothing. The Kings are just going for that tank. The Golden Knights, no. The Golden Knights have already clinched. They will be on the road in San Jose. Vegas is going to play
San Jose for the 2nd straight year in the playoffs.
They're good.
That's right.
I mean, Vegas in the 2nd straight year.
I'm sorry. Did I say San Jose?
Yeah, Vegas in the 2nd straight year in the playoffs in their history.
I said.
The Vegas Golden Knights have never missed the playoffs in their franchise history.
That's right.
Incredible. Vegas is going to get the win. 4-0 over the Kings. Tuck, Riley Smith, Stastny, Marchessault, all the goals for the Knights. And then the nightcap, 2 teams that this will matter if the Habs. It'll matter what happens with Dallas. But if Dallas loses in regulation both times, if Colorado can get a win in San Jose, they will be able to clinch a first-round meeting against a Central team and not play the Calgary Flames. And back to Calgary, I want to say I am worried about the Flames because their goaltending situation.
Casey Riddick
and Mike Smith. But the Avalanche, I will have losing to the Sharks 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
Couture, Melker Karlsson, Brent Burns, and Joe Pavelski, the goals for the Sharks. For the Avalanche, Mikko Rantanen.
Of course.
So now we will start to talk about Seattle. After Seattle, we will go to the Central race, and after that, we will talk briefly about the betting odds and the lottery, and then we will say goodnight, and we will get ready for our next video, either this Sunday or the next coming week, which will be a really intriguing matchup. Definitely look forward to making that video for you guys. Really excited about that. So let's talk about Seattle, and I'm going to give the floor to Tom. Tom knows all about this franchise, and I know very little.
So, as you all may know, it was announced that on December 4th, 2018, the NHL successfully approved a proposal of expansion to the city of Seattle by their Seattle hockey partners, which is the ownership group led by head owner David Bonderman, co-owner Jerry Bruckheimer, and CEO and president Todd Lewicki, to grant an expansion franchise to Seattle. It'll be the first. Huh? Oh yeah, excuse me on that one, but I was just pointing out. But it will be the first professional hockey team to play in Seattle since the Totems of the Western Hockey League played their last game in '75. And a couple of things I'll say for Seattle.
Right, first NHL team. Well, never NHL team, but first professional hockey league team in the Stanley Cup. In the Stanley Cup League since 1917?
Yeah, 1924, I think. Let me see. The Metropolitans, though, okay, hold on for 1 second here. Sorry, guys. Yes, 1924. That was the year my grandfather was born. So the last time Seattle had an actual professional hockey team was the Metropolitans, which they're the first team before the NHL to win, American team to win the Stanley Cup. Of course, and a couple of things to say about that. They will play in the redeveloped Key Arena. Well, that's the arena where the Supersonics used to play, and it will be renovated just in time, but it's likely to be changed.
It's going to be an incredible atmosphere.
Yeah, and they're going to have the name changed to Seattle Center Ice Arena or whatever they decide to call it.
Right.
And, it's a terrific ownership committed group, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be interesting, especially because we do know that Gary Bettman and Jim Benning have said that the rivalry that will consist with the Seattle, whatever team it is, Seattle Totems, whatever you want to call them, and the Vancouver Canucks, will be very interesting, and it'll be a great rivalry. I liken it to the rivalry that is currently going on with the Los Angeles Kings and the Vegas Golden Knights. expansion team that has played well and garnered the respect throughout the organization and the people with the league and such, with a team that's been around for about 60 years in the Los Angeles Kings. And what would make it better for the Seattle team is if they could play the Vancouver Canucks, who are a rising team, getting better and better in the postseason, and beat the Canucks. That will only help the rivalry, and that will only help the league. And I do think that. So Seattle is going to be interesting. If any, it's going to be the proposition of just a team that will be there to see and to understand. Will be awesome to see. If you guys have any opinion on what the name wants to be with this video, if you're on the podcast now, or if you want to look at it live, just post what you think the Seattle team should be named. I'm
going to go with the Kraken.
I believe it should be the Seattle Totems.
I think
the Seattle Totems should be good. You could do some of these old logos.
2 things to point out. We all know the Seattle team will be playing in the Pacific. That means the Arizona Coyotes will go from the Pacific to the Central Division.
We know that.
And also, the Golden Knights will not participate in the expansion draft for Seattle when it comes, meaning that they won't be.
Because they are still of an expansion.
Still a new team, and which means the good thing for Vegas, they don't have to worry about losing a player, which is fair.
Right. It's going to be great. It's going to be a fun ride. 2021.
22, which will be seniors in the college.
2021, the 2021 season in October, puck drop in Key Arena.
New arena, whatever they call it.
And I'm going to tell you that I believe it will be against Vancouver.
You are probably right about that.
And when it will be, we are going to see Linus Karlsson and Elias Pettersson for the Vancouver Canucks that will be probably of the same talent level or close to the same talent level, although I give these players respect, to Daniel Henrik Sedin, because they are going to be so talented in 3 years. Linus Karlsson, the new Utica Comet, who was traded from the San Jose Sharks, San Jose Barracudas farm system, and of course Elias Pettersson is playing a lot this year. So that'll be a great year. Now we're going to go to our second and last.
Seattle, welcome to the NHL. And
welcome to the National Hockey League, Seattle.
Yes,
and the Great Northwest.
One more thing, their team name, well, not confirmed yet. They're going to try to have their name revealed sometime middle of this year, or who knows, maybe early next year. But I think the latest they'll have is sometime next year.
Just look at NHL.com, NHL Network for any updates, and we, of course, will update you when it happens. We will make videos about it. A lot of great Seattle
opinions. And also, I feel like one player that I know will be drafted, TJ Oshie, the hometown boy, as a prediction.
Is that from Seattle?
Well, he was
Minnesota.
He was born and raised in Seattle, if I'm not. Or am I thinking of someone else? Okay.
TJ Oshie probably will stay at Capital for the rest of his career, but we move on to this. Capital fans.
And Seattle, welcome to the NHL.
Now we go to the Central Division on our second to last topic. And
he was born in Washington, TJ Oshie, Mount Vernon.
Well, so maybe, but I don't think that the Caps will let him go.
I feel like they might. Well,
at this point, when we look to the Central Division,
or all that stuff,
the Central Division is a dogfight with 3 teams: St. Louis Blues, who we said we're not supposed to do anything in the postseason or in the regular season; the Winnipeg Jets, who have been in the top of the division for the whole year, but are now sitting at 2, a point behind the Nashville Predators, and the St. Louis Blues. So now we're going to also look at the scores, so you can understand what's going on with both teams. St. Louis played their game in hand. All 3 teams have 81 games left. All 3 teams are playing tomorrow. St. Louis it's a 4 p.m. start at home in the Enterprise Center, the home of the All-Star game next season, against the Vancouver Canucks. That game, the St. Louis Blues, if I look correctly, depending what happens with Nashville, they can get a point. But if they lose in regulation, they are done. If they can't get a point. If they get a point, they don't win the division. If they win, they would leapfrog to 99 at 98 points. If St. Louis wins and Winnipeg loses, no matter how they lose, St. Louis does have the higher record than them. Of course. But for the Blues, they cannot have the Nashville Predators do anything via they cannot have the Nashville Predators do anything via, points and such in overtime.
Okay, yeah,
the Winnipeg Jets, they can lose. The Winnipeg Jets need to win, and they're also going to need the Nashville Predators to lose. The Canada Nashville Predators win. The Winnipeg Jets, because of their more wins, they are control their own destiny above St. Louis. So if St. Louis wins and Winnipeg wins, they automatically jump over St. Louis. Winnipeg gets a point, but St. Louis wins. St. Louis at 97 points goes to 99, but Winnipeg gets a point 98. They would be the road team at 3. Nashville, if they win, no matter what happens, they win the division.
Of course.
If they get a point, though, it depends on if they get a point and St. Louis wins and Winnipeg loses. If you guys are following this, then the St. Louis Blues don't do anything that doesn't affect the Nashville Predators. But if the Winnipeg Jets win, or if the Winnipeg Jets win and the if the Winnipeg Jets get a point and Nashville gets a point, then Nashville still stays where they are. But no, they don't. Excuse me. If Winnipeg gets a point and Nashville only gets 1 point because they have less overtime losses, the Winnipeg Jets would have 6 and then Nashville would have 7. Yes, Winnipeg Jets have less overtime losses. Winnipeg would jump the Predators into the division for division winners. So a lot of stuff going on if you guys can follow. So St. Louis playing Vancouver. You have Nashville playing at home against Chicago, as we highlighted, and Arizona is hosting the Jets. Your pick for the Central Division?
Predators.
Pick Nashville Predators? I agree. I think the Nashville Predators will play.
It might be a little bit of a tie between the Predators and the Jets.
Who would your 2 seed be then?
2 seed overall?
Yes, in the Central.
In the Central. Probably the Jets.
I would think the Jets, but the way I use my scorings, I think the Jets are going to see that being inconsistent in the National Hockey League, even though it's just the regular season, can cost you. And game 1 will be against the Blues and Scott's trade zone. Yes, bold pick that the game is going to be the Blues will have home ice. That is my bold pick. Okay. I don't think the Blues will end up winning that series, but I think they will be on home ice. And it's very interesting, too, because, as you guys remember, I picked the St. Louis Blues the preseason to play the Winnipeg Jets in the first round.
Yeah,
2 and 3. So what an interesting matchup that would be. And then we look at our final topic of today, and that will be
the draft.
The draft and the lottery. So now here's how the draft works. The lottery starts at 18%. That's the highest percent you have in the lottery to win balls, just like the Powerball, which everyone thinks we win, but nobody wins, only $20. Same type of thing here. Looking for the greatest player, but you don't know if you can get him, and you don't know who it would be. So the worst pick, we look at the worst pick at number 1 to get the lottery is the 64 point. With the 64 points, the Ottawa Senators. They have the worst record in the National Hockey League. But as you remember, the last season, the Ottawa Senators traded that selection to the Colorado Avalanche for Matt Duchene. And when they entered the draft last season, they were given an option. The 2019 NHL draft, and the 2018 NHL draft. And the Ottawa Senators chose the 2019 NFL draft. They used that 4th selection on Brady Tkachuk. And the Ottawa Senators now do not have a first-round selection that is their own. They only have the Columbus Blue Jackets selection this season, which is going to be around 16. The Ottawa Senators gave the Colorado Avalanche clinched playoff spot, the number 1 pick. You're looking at probably a guy like Brady Jack Hughes, would be the first overall selection in that draft. And Ottawa might have a chance. And then we look at the second team. So they're going to have a lower. They're going to have around 16, 15%, and that is the team that won a Stanley Cup a few years ago, the Los Angeles Kings.
course.
And then they would be looking for a scorer like a Capo Caco to second. Now, this is a lottery, so they could not get this. It's only percentage, just like the NBA, not the NFL. It's not worse. But we look at the Kings with the second to worst record.
I like the way how the NFL does it. Like
I do. I think it should be that way.
I think they should do it.
The
for all
third
sports.
worst
No
record,
doubt.
having the best chance to get third worst record is that's the first. The third is my squad, the New Jersey Devils.
Oh, yeah, of course.
They would have a chance. There's a bunch of defensemen that are out there. There's a bunch of other good players in the league, in college, all across Europe that we can go and see to try to draft. And that'll be third. With fourth, the fourth closest with Buffalo Sabres, but that is still up in grabs because right up there with the same record as they have is the Detroit Red Wings. They're the fifth pick. Then the sixth pick, if we go by lottery, belongs to the Rangers. And the Rangers, your Rangers, looking to try to salvage some great young players to rebuild and what the New York Rangers organization wants to do. And then we look at the seventh. The seventh pick would be by lottery, the Edmonton Oilers. They need some help. They need a lot of help. Their organization needs a lot of help.
They're like probably the one
I would give another skater to help McDavid. I don't know if I would put him to start. I would think Bakersfield would be a good place for the forward that they've signed, the defenseman, whoever they sign. Then next eighth, if you use the lottery pick, would be the Anaheim Ducks. Ninth would be the Vancouver Canucks. And then 10th would be the Flyers. Let's see who they would have. 11th, the Minnesota Wild. 12th, the 12th would be the Florida Panthers, probably in that substantial. 13th, actually, Florida Panthers. The 14th one would be the Arizona Coyotes. They have a low pick, but a high station because you know how good they were. And then if we use what the standings are today, the 15th percentage would be the Montreal Canadiens. Obviously, we've seen Carolina, we've seen Montreal, we've seen what they did. We've seen New Jersey Devils and the Philadelphia Flyers in years past go through the lottery. I think the first pick will end up being the Ottawa Senators. And I think they're going the Ottawa Senators via Colorado. And I think Colorado Avalanche, they'll want to trade down, but I think they will get Jack Hughes. And I think the second pick will belong to the Devils. I believe the Devils.
All right.
You can have your opinion?
Maybe the Oilers. Actually, I might have the Oilers.
The Oilers do very well in these drafts. But
Devils at 3.
I think the Devils get 2 and get a Capo Caco. I think I agree with Edmonton. I think the Edmonton Oilers will get the third spot, whatever they take. I think the fourth spot will belong to the Buffalo Sabres. LA will get gypped and go to 5. To 6 for the second straight year, the Red Wings. To 7, the Ducks. To 8, the Rangers.
Yeah, I think I'm picking the Rangers are going to get an average pick. Or at least my prediction for the Rangers, probably 7-11, around there. So
to 9, to 9, the Canucks. To 10, the Hawks. To 11, the Flyers.
Blackhawks, not Atlanta Hawks.
Yes. 10, the Hawks. 11, the Flyers. To 12, the Wild. 13, the Panthers. 14, Arizona. And 15, Montreal. And then obviously you go by
whoever makes
playoff, although we look at the Rangers and others such as the Buffalo Sabres who have picks coming in from Buffalo. We remember did trade a pick to Anaheim. They did trade a pick to Anaheim and to get one of their great defensemen, Montour. They also will be trading a selection. They do have a selection they have their own selection that Buffalo has via lottery, but they have another selection from the Evander Kane trade last season to the San Jose Sharks. A lot going down in the draft, a lot going down in the National Hockey League. 2 last days of the regular season and the postseason. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really enjoyed doing the puck drops here again. This was incredible. This was awesome. My man Tom is going to be co-host for the rest of these videos.
For most of these videos, depending on my schedule.
Yeah, this is going to be...
I have a really busy schedule, so I'll talk I'm not here often.
And this is one of the rare unions that you'll see. Devil and a Ranger fan. Not going to see that too often. I'm not going to see that too often, but it's been a great time.
Bad idea, buddy.
Doing it right here. And so,
Peter, thank you
I definitely appreciate it. I love that we're having this video.
I look forward to being on.
Yeah, look forward to this channel. You guys, subscribe, like, do whatever you got to do with the channel. I really would appreciate it. So say goodbye. Have a good night. And I got some fun things to say. As Chris Kelly and Darren Peng would say, thank you. Unbelievable. Goodbye, good night, game over. Mattel Henrique, let's go.
Bye-bye.